All right, welcome back to The Best Version of Me. My name is Daniel Hernandez, along with my co-host, Edgar Miranda. Boy, do we have a treat for you today. We are excited, motivated, and looking forward to having this conversation with our guest today on Best Version of Me. Edgar, go ahead and introduce us to our guest today.
Oh man, do we have a treat for you. For those who are in the real estate game, you want to tune in, you want to put on the volume.
That's right.
Because this is one of the titans of industry when it comes to the lending side. This gentleman, I had the privilege to actually hang out with him in one of my, I call it second homes, Puerto Vallarta. I actually met him in Puerto Vallarta. We were having a fun time, and then fast forward, we spent Thanksgiving together, and I got to pick his brain, got to see who he was as a person.
Interesting.
Beautiful wife, beautiful kids. He has a kid that's the same age as my son, and you could totally tell on the way human beings are with their children. And let me tell you, this is a person that you want to listen to because he has a story to tell. His story, he got here when he was 14 years old, living in a garage with his family, very humble beginnings, did not know English, and now we're sitting here in his office.
Amazing office, by the way.
Beautiful office. I mean, wait until you see the footage.
Immaculate.
They have a vault in here, which it's the kitchen. They converted it into a kitchen.
They take their food seriously.
Super serious. And not just that, they're opening up an office in Miami. They have offices in Pomona. They have offices, they're launching in Texas.
There's our excuse to go out there, right?
Yeah, we're going to be out there for sure, getting loans. So let's hear from him directly.
And I love his name. Very powerful name.
His name must be Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah, so without further ado, and we have a treat because, man, before the interview, I was asking him about that tequila that he introduced me to in Puerto Vallarta. I never even heard of this tequila. This is like the if you drink whiskey, it's like the Louis XIV whiskey of tequila. It's like a
King James version?
King James version. It's like for you because he doesn't drink tequila. But I'm gonna have a tequila. I got his water already. But without further ado, I'm very blessed and privileged to have Daniel Carrillo, CEO of Encore Mortgage, sitting here. And by the way, thank you so much for just taking the opportunity to be here with us. I know your time is valuable, and you mentor and you override dozens of lenders, and your time is being pulled in different directions. And when I picked up the phone, I called you. I learned a lot just from that conversation. And you instantly said, yeah, I got you, whatever you need. It was like you gave me that fresh breath of air that I needed, because at that moment I got kicked. Because this is a passion project that Daniel and I have been at it for a few years, talking about it. And this channel wasn't going to happen. So we're creating what wasn't going to happen. And you're here with us creating. We're inventing as we go along.
Yeah, everything starts with a conversation. That conversation led to now this conversation. Yeah. So Daniel, it's a privilege and honor to be sitting here with you. Thank you for inviting us to your beautiful place here. Amazing. So maybe we can start a little bit by starting off with who you are.
So Daniel Carrillo from León, Guanajuato, Mexico. Just like Edgar said, born and raised there at 14. Got here, no English. Living at my aunt's garage with my parents. See, when you see the challenges that you come as an immigrant, you don't want to go back or ever go back to those stories or those moments. So ever since I got to this country, I started working hard. I started in the construction business, demolition, painting, electrician, communication. This was my last industry, which is finance.
And you've been in this industry for 19 years?
19 years this year.
Wow. So the construction, let's kind of go back to that. How did you get into the construction side of things?
I was in high school. My friend's uncle was a contractor, so we'll be like, hey, can you give us a job after school? So we'll leave at 3 in the afternoon or whatever time we'll get out of school, go and do construction. I will show up to the house with blisters, and I'm like, this is real, right? But it showed me how hard it is to be able to achieve whatever you want with hard work, no matter what industry you are. And I put myself where it's like every year that you're in this country, you have to keep growing. If you're not growing every year, you're doing something wrong. And every year I was moving positions, like I said, demolition, construction, electrician, and every single year I was pushing myself to become better.
Where did that come from, that whole push of wanting to become better?
Truly from my parents, hardworking. My mom and dad. I pretty much started working at 6 years old in Mexico. They used to own a restaurant, so I would pretty much go and clean the plates, take the orders, take the drinks.
I knew that's what we had in common. I also worked at the restaurant. My parents had a restaurant for 20-something years, so I can relate to you.
Actually, I met my wife at his restaurant at a nightclub. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was his best man, by the way, in his wedding.
My wedding.
So fast forward, but I didn't know that messy piece. I didn't know you guys met.
Yeah.
And we would work on the weekends all the time, and you name it, I did it.
Yeah.
From cashiering to picking up the plates, all of that. What kind of food? Mexican food.
It was Mexican. Well, it was actually Mexican, and the other side was American.
Oh.
My dad was the first one selling hamburgers and pizzas in our
León,
Guanajuato.
And for those who don't know León, Guanajuato, you go there, because I've had the opportunity to be there. It's like going to Europe, right? Is that the area, the alley of the Besos?
Yeah, el Callejón del Beso.
El Callejón de los Besos. And it's like bar, church, bar, church, bar, church, bar.
Right.
But everything is like you're in Spain, Italy. It's very romantic.
Right.
And you guys, that's what you guys sold, hamburgers and so I can picture that.
Yeah, we'll go to sleep under the counter, probably about 10, 11, because we had to go to school the next morning, and then wake up around midnight when they shut down the store. But that's a big push, and that's where I got my hardworking skills, if you say, right?
So coming from there now here in the States, what was your mindset like? What were you thinking? What was your goals? What was on your mind?
I don't know that I was gonna be in this industry. A friend invited me to look into finance, and I'm like, I don't know nothing about finance. I'm coming from construction. My last one was communication, and it's like, hey, you give loans out. You pretty much.
Now, were you speaking English at this time, or your English was still
very broken?
Very broken.
But my clientele was kind of like Hispanic community, right? So if I had a client that was Spanish speaking, I would pretty much refer it out to one of my guys, right? Hey, help.
So you made it work. You got creative.
Yeah. And I started doing a lot of refinances back in 2002, 2003, right?
Well, the good old days when people had a pulse. So you started in the perfect timing.
I did.
But I would say a fraction of those people. In fact, I don't know the statistics, but a good fraction of those people are gone. So you persevered through a tough stage.
In the office where we started, it was about 17 of us, and right now up to today, there's only 2, me and another girl in the business.
There you go.
Everybody else is gone. They didn't it's not they didn't belong in the industry, but it got super hard.
Yeah, the context kicked them out.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like the way the stock market was 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Everybody's making money, and right now we're in a bear market. So you really got to have that tenacity and that relentlessness and really that vision, which is more what I'm hearing from what you're saying. You had that vision because 19 years in an industry, there's people that don't even last a year.
Yeah.
And then not speaking English, broken English, and finance not being your game. You come from construction.
Right.
I could just imagine like the challenges you went through. Not to mention, were you married at the time? Because I know we left that part out that you've been with your...
We've been together for 19 years. So ever since I started this industry, I met my wife literally 3 months after I got into this industry. So big part of our success together is pretty much being and having a big support, which is my wife, to be able to achieve or done what we have done.
Yeah, she's an amazing mother. I also had the privilege to be out there with them Thanksgiving, Puerto Vallarta, and the way she handles the kids. She runs the office, the culture that they've created here, and 19 years, congratulations.
Yes.
That to me is probably one of the biggest, but aside from the kids,
How's that dynamic working alongside your...
Probably for the first 5-6 years, we will be getting divorced every other week.
Really?
Because it's like we see each other, and it's like we go through something at the office, we get home, and it's like, you're mad at me. I'm like, leave that at the office, don't bring it to home. So it's very challenging, but a lot of good friends that have successful business, and they have their wives, it's like they go through the same thing, but it's very, we support each other and we have the same vision and goal. So I couldn't ask for nothing best, but having my wife as business partner.
What would you say to someone who has a significant other? What would be your, let's just say, 2 points of views, two advices that you would give them working with them to keep it strong like the way you guys have?
Because there's couples right at dinner tables that are having that conversation where maybe the spouse, one side is running the business and the other spouse is like, hey, how do I get a part of that? I want to support you, but I also want to support you there at the office.
And
right?
then most importantly, you know, if I wouldn't have known you, I would think you guys were on your honeymoon in Puerto Vallarta. So that's also, you guys
maybe
kept
they
the
were.
spark. Yeah, that's how you guys have also kept the spark alive for 19 years, which even that right there is a big accomplishment.
That's right.
You know, 19 years of constantly creating and reinventing yourself in the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people say, you know, I got married and that's it. Well, no, it's you got married and you continue creating that every single day.
Correct.
That's right. Best version of me is not just on the financial side, but it's the best version of me as a husband, right. Best version of me as a father, mm-hmm. Best version of me as a CEO, right? Best version of me of mindset and health. Mm-hmm. It's a holistic best version of me.
Yeah. Right. And that's one of the reasons why, like, you came to mind right away. I said, what I know of Daniel and the people he mentors and the offices that I know he overruns. I know you're a broker for a buddy of mine that I've known for 20-something years. They overrun probably a few hundred agents, and you're the broker. That already says a lot about you, of who you are as a person. So with that being said, what would be the 2 pointers that you would give people that want to have their wife be in the business?
Or husband.
Or husband.
Well, first, you have to have a clear vision where you're going.
Okay, vision.
Right? So vision, make sure you're on the same page. Okay. A lot of people are not on the same page.
What do you mean? Kind of explain on that.
Like my goal is here and maybe my spouse's goal is here. So maybe she's dragging me instead of helping me. But if you both have the set goal and you're going the same directions and the same speed, like nobody's gonna stop you.
How do you get her to be on the goal? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That's not the truth, but
yeah,
you know, that book. But how would you get her? What's the ingredient for that?
Or who had the vision? Was it you here?
I had the vision. And I had to sell the vision because you can say, hey,
so
follow me.
You enrolled her into your vision.
Right. You have to enroll.
You enrolled her.
Because you knew your vision.
Right. And they had to believe it, right? Because maybe they'll follow you, but for 2 months and there's no results, they're gonna be like, forget it, I'm doing my own thing, right? But if it's like you see the progress and you're not quitting, you're working hard every day, and you're seeing results every year, every month, every quarter, and that's pushing you. It's like it gets to a point that it's like I believe where we're going.
And that's your spouse, right? So they see you at home on your best days and your worst days, right? Days. They know you. I know at church, when we had one of our pastors going through the church, and they go to the husband, and the husband goes, "Oh, my marriage is going great." He goes, "No, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the wife. I want to know the truth. Wife, how's the marriage?" Yeah. And then it's a different conversation, right?
Let me tell you, when I get sick, I'm the biggest baby ever. I'm in bed. My wife's bringing me, like, I'm crying in bed, you know, and I have like the cold, right? And when my wife's sick, she's out there handling the kids.
Right. Yeah.
She's out there, and I would never know that she was sick. They're the leaders, I think. Yeah. They're the ones that keep us aligned and balanced, and the fact that you enrolled her to your vision and you guys created a vision together, that says a lot about you.
So vision one, what's the other thing you were going to mention?
And completely separate when you get home. It's like leave everything behind.
And that must be tough.
That is, for the first few years, it was very, very tough.
So something you had to learn, because you can't really teach that.
No,
right?
It's like becoming a parent, right? There's no book out there to
we're still learning.
Yeah. So it's like it's 5, 6, 7 p.m. We go home and it's like, okay, the cut. It's over.
Do you ever have that urgency of like
talk about the office,
the client or the office, or we're about to like
always.
Yeah,
always.
How do you handle that? Like
with time, you start learning on respecting your time, respecting. When you get home, you cannot give what's left of you, but 100% of you.
That's powerful. Say that again.
when you get home, you cannot give to your family what's left of you, but 100%.
Wow.
Right? And a lot of us get home, we disconnect, and they're waiting for us.
Yeah,
Right?
you know,
The father version, not the leftover version.
Not the leftover.
I got to tell you this. I'm an accomplice of that, and you just wow, you just had me had a breakthrough right now, because I'll get home and I hope my wife's gonna watch this, so she's not gonna call me out on it, and I'll get on the phone right away, emails, still handling business, and my kids are like wanting my attention, so practicing that awareness. How did you handle that? Did you put your phone in the
That's
car?
powerful. What you just said right now probably changed. Somebody's had a breakthrough who's watching that.
Yeah.
Myself, I start to reflect, right? To be aware of that when you get home, because us, for example, us as men, as business owners, we give it all on the table at work, right? We're giving it all to our employees, our teams. We're motivating, we're inspiring, we're leaving it all on the table, everything, even us, and then we come home, right? And we have to make that choice in the car, in the driveway. Do I come in empty, or do I recharge, reinvent myself, so that now I give what I gave there to my wife and kids, who are
That's
really the
powerful.
most important.
Yeah.
Because without that, everything else kind of crumbles.
Which isn't, that's why we're working so hard. But yeah, we show up empty, right? With an empty battery, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Burnout.
It doesn't make sense. Like your balance, your will of life is not around.
And wives have that spidey sense, right? They know when they're getting short end of the stick, or even kids.
Yeah.
It's like, Mom, Dad, you're here, but you're tired,
Yeah, you're
right?
not here.
So how'd you handle that? Because starting businesses myself, you, like Daniel said, you give your all, and you get drained by the day. And especially you're in an industry that demands constant attention. You're dealing with people's probably biggest decision, which is buying a house,
Right.
getting a loan, personal stuff. You're like a doctor when it comes to their finances, to get them approved for a loan. That's their dream. It's in your hands. You're I would call it, you're like a surgeon to get them their house, and then you get home. So how did you handle that, where you just separated and now gave your 100? Because that right there was huge.
It took years, but I learned a lot from my mentor.
Okay.
I belong to a coaching company. I get a coach every other week.
And even now that you have it all, you're still getting mentored.
Oh yeah, and that never stops. The minute that you think that you know it all, that's when you lose, right? Because you have to reinvent yourself. People that have been in this industry for 19 years, they haven't been in the industry really since COVID happened. Why? Because a lot of things happen, right? So you can say that you've been doing loans for 20 and you haven't touched a loan in 4 years, you don't know anything right now.
It's changed.
The whole new
Right?
world.
The whole thing changed.
Kebabbed.
Right? So if you're not evolving yourself, if you're not getting trained, coached, and growing as a person, then you get lost, right? And that's why a lot of people leave the industry, because they stick to the same way they used to do business 5, 10, 15 years ago. And it doesn't happen like that. Zoom came in. I don't know how to use a Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Right? Now it's like all my clients I Zoom on Zoom.
Zoom, yeah.
Right? So it's
Sure.
like that's something that, the pandemic put us through a lot of challenges, and you have to evolve yourself and keep growing every way.
That's truly the definition of our message, best version of me.
Evolving.
Reinventing yourself, being aware, right? Continually growth, right? Now, so during those conversations of being coached, does personal part of your life show up in that conversation as well, or is it only specifically for business?
No, it's business, health, spiritual, all around. Yeah. And that's the thing, because there's a lot of people that are very successful in their business, but very broken in their marriage, very broken spiritual, very broken health, right? And it's not about either or. It's like you have to have a balance in life.
As a whole,
Yeah.
as a
And
holistic.
that's one of the things I admire about you, is I totally see the balance. You're like always even keel. I'm sure you have your let's get down to business, but I haven't seen that. Yeah, you're just a lovable guy. That you're a good aura to be around with. Beautiful wife. Your kids, oh my goodness. Little Daniel, just got baptized, and swimming classes. Then you got your business going. I could see how every area has to be that in sync, so that this way your business constantly flourishes. So what's been the biggest breakthrough that you've had with your mentor?
I think being able to commit and be accountable, right? Especially in this country, there's so many distractions that people get distracted and they don't achieve what they want because they don't focus. They're not consistent in what they do.
Vision, focus, consistent.
Young generations, they want results super fast because of the social media, right? But it doesn't work like that. Like, you wanna create what I have, you have to be willing to do what I've done.
You're in that industry, we want to encourage you to get in contact with us. Let's have a conversation to figure out how we can get you part of the team. Not only are you going to make a ton of money, but you're also going to help the environment, and you're also going to help put your client first on all their needs when it comes to energy going solar.
Congratulations on joining our quest to empower 1 million families to go solar and making the biggest impact on this planet.
So what's the system? It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Step number 1, collect the energy bill. How simple is that? Well, let me show you exactly how that looks.
All I need is your energy bill so I can create a savings report for you.
So all you need is my energy bill? Great, let me get it for you. Just a sec. Found it. I'm gonna send a picture, just a second. Did you get it?
I just received your energy bill and I'm working on your savings report right now.
Step number 2, jump on a Zoom call or meet in person with your client to empower them and to show them their savings report.
I just got the link, logging in now.
By billing solar, we are reducing your energy bill by 70%.
Step number 3, DocuSign. This is where most of our clients say this is a no-brainer and they go and they choose to go solar. Let me show you how that looks.
Wow, that's a no-brainer. What's next?
Congratulations, you've been approved. We're sending the DocuSign to you right now.
Hope you enjoyed our system. Keep it simple. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, collect the utility bill. Step 2, get on a Zoom call. Step 3, most clients say it's a no-brainer, and that's when we send over the DocuSign and we empower those families to go solar. The call to action is within 24 hours, collect your first utility bill so we can empower those families together.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
And social media kind of sabotages that, right? Because people see a successful person but don't understand the journey that it took in order to get there. They're just seeing the flashiness or the success piece of it, and I bought this and this is where I'm at status.
Yeah.
But this is why this show is so vitally important, so that people can see the journey, the reinvention, the awareness to be the best version.
And that an immigrant from Mexico, no Spanish, only Spanish, living in a garage with a family, pretty much coming from nothing, inventing this in a vision because you had that vision. You know, you don't have that entitled mentality that a lot of people might not like this, but we're entitled here in the United States.
Right.
We're totally entitled. And I don't know, I've heard that sometimes the immigrants, I mean, look at the richest man alive, immigrant from a different country, Elon, right?
Yeah.
They know what it is to live in a garage. Yet we're over here on social media watching,
Wasting.
Seeing people's facade, let's call it, and thinking that that's the way it should be. We're thrown into this society that this is the way it should be, but yet they fail to see the challenges that people like yourself endure to create this empire that you've created with your family.
So when you hear the words, the statement, the name, best version of me, what comes to mind? What does that mean to you?
One of the reasons I decided to open Anchor Mortgage is to be able to bring in my knowledge to the community for new people that want to get into the business. So far I have touched on about 50 loan officers in my career, which we're talking about 3.5 years, 4 years ago that I started on my own. And that is very, there's a lot of joy in that. You get to a point that you find what you were brought to life for, and if I'm able to change people's life, that's the joy and the passion that I get nowadays.
Fulfillment, right? Absolutely. Our show, Best Version of Me, is that exact same message. All of us are successful in our businesses and what we bring to the table, but this is a contribution, right? To be able to give back and to inspire the world, our viewers, the audience, to be a better version of themselves. Right. So they get to see the behind the scenes, the journey that maybe social media doesn't always show you, but we have these real conversations.
Right.
I mean, I'm being inspired by having this conversation. I'm bringing awareness of my parts of my life that after this conversation, I got some reinventing to do.
You're gonna turn off the phone, throw it in the car when you go inside the driveway?
Oh yeah.
Because that's what I'm thinking the same exact thing. Did you do that?
I did that.
And that's how you practiced?
Yeah, you practice it, and you can start with one night. You can start with 2 nights.
Withdrawals.
And just leave it in the car.
Just leave it in the car.
Yeah.
Leave it in the car.
It's those little practices that add up, compound effect.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we've been meditating, and we have in our pool house we have our board that we took from our son's classroom, which he gets homeschooled, by the way, our son. So we took it and we're writing on there every day that we meditate, just to keep us accountable. So I keep her accountable, she keeps me accountable. But now I'm gonna do what you said, leave the phone in the car at least for one night or for 2 hours, just disconnect.
And it allows them, it really, from the spouse and the kids' point of view, it shows them how important they are.
Yeah.
Right, you value that time.
Yeah, they're sponges at that young age.
My wife and I and our kids, we have a Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. That's our time.
I call him on Sunday, he's like, I gave up.
I gotta put the phone away.
He's training me not to call him on Sunday, which is good. So that's powerful that you're saying that, because now that I'm thinking about that.
Tuesday evening is our family night. So after I get home, I put the phone and we watch our movies. They're ready to go. What are we gonna watch, Dad? Popcorn, dinner. That's our time.
Yeah.
Friday night, same thing as well.
Let me hold you accountable. Is that true? His son's in the back cameras recording. Is that true? Thumbs up if it is. All right. Okay, he's holding you accountable.
No, that's great. I pull in and I ask him, okay, son, I'm home. He'll come out, help me with my things, and he goes, so what are we going to watch today? Right? Yeah. We're already being trained. That's our time. And that breakthrough took place when my wife and I, through our church, went to a marriage retreat in San Diego for a 4-day weekend getaway.
You got to tell me about that.
Oh, it was amazing. The pastor, talked about having that time alone. First, just you and your spouse, and then the time with you and your kids, and work aside. And they know that I love to work. It's a passion because it's fulfillment, but two, I'm able to give back and to build something. That's just something that I've always loved to do, is to build something, right? And then to bring people and give people opportunities and so forth. But to be able to disconnect from that and just to build my marriage, to build my family, to build my relationship with my son and my daughters. Just the other day, I took my oldest daughter to a dinner date. We went to Olive Garden. She didn't even know it. I called my son, hey, have my oldest daughter come out to the side garage. Just me and her. She had no idea where we were going to go. She's like, where are we going to go, Dad? I went out there. I opened the door for her. She came in. She's like, where are we going? I'm like, where do you want to go? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, where do you want to go? I'm taking you out on a dinner date. And she said, Olive Garden. I said, let's go to Olive Garden. We sat there. We had an amazing time to reconnect. And it was beautiful, because it's our responsibility as a father to show our children, our daughters, right, how it is to be treated by a man, right? We have to be the one.
Yeah.
So it's just reinventing yourself. These conversations I'm learning from all of us as we bring to the table to take it back home.
Yeah, my mentor says, we're getting trained by everything. Everything's training you. It took me a while to understand that. Well, what do you mean everything? Everything's training you. You're getting trained in every single second. Everything's perfect. When I finally grasped that, it was like, wow, things changed for me. My instant awareness of everything changed. So I get cut off and I want to cuss off the person, and I know the audience out there has had that experience.
Oh yeah.
That's training me. It's right away, it's like, what am I learning from this? How's my ways of being? How's my how is my automatic popping up? We're getting trained, and that's why I love coming out to interview great folks like yourself, because you're training me just sitting here listening to your challenges that you had, and also my biggest thing right now is what you just said earlier, is the fact that disconnecting when you get home. I mean, it's so simple, but it's also simple not to do it.
Right.
So that alone right there, if we were going to finish the interview already, that right there is golden nuggets. Breakthroughs. And we haven't even got to the good stuff.
Right.
I have a question for you. What would you tell your younger self? What you know now today, if you're able to go back in time and talk to your younger self.
The 14-year-old that got here living in a garage?
Yeah.
Or the 18-year-old?
Both, actually.
The 14, I don't think much, because I think I did my best of what I could in the construction. I learned a lot. When I first bought my first house, like, I did everything. I did the painting, I changed the switch, everything. So it was good. You felt good to be able to be a very handy guy. And I think at 18, I wish I could have started getting coached earlier in my career, just because that changed my career completely when I started getting coached. Why? Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? So if someone comes to me and says, Daniel, I want to be able to have 15 loan officers, I'm like, do what I tell you and you can do it in 5 years. So I'm going to save you 13 years of time by you following what I tell you.
Cutting the learning curve.
Yeah, because I did a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, so even that's important. It's you humbled yourself to simply say, hey, I don't know everything. I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to have a coach.
Yeah.
So I think that right there is a mistake that many business owners, including myself, make, is that we might not look for that guidance through a coach. So it's constant ever improvement.
And what's one of the reasons, I speak for myself, why we don't get certain accountability in certain areas? Because we don't want to be accountable. We don't want to air out these areas because we know that if we air them out, now we put it out there, now we have to be accountable to ourselves and to the other person.
Yeah,
right?
If you think about it, the greatness, Kobe had a coach, Michael Jordan had a coach. These are like the greatest of the greats.
That's right.
In fact, on our list, we're going to interview Kobe's and Michael Jordan's coach. He just doesn't know it yet. So if you're watching this, you're next.
Be ready. Be ready. Be ready. So
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. So how did that come about of wanting to get an accountability coach? Was that something that somebody told you should do? Were you part of a conversation that you heard, or how did that come about?
Just like you said, every person that is very successful out there, they have mentors around them, and they have a coach. Different coaches sometimes.
Different coaches.
Yeah, in different aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like, if you are comfortable, you're not gonna grow. And a lot of people get too comfortable, and the only way you're gonna grow is by being uncomfortable all the time. So you have to always be uncomfortable, and that's how you're gonna always make changes in your marriage, life, career, every aspect.
So being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Right. If you're comfortable, there's gonna be a limit where you're not gonna grow. But you're always uncomfortable because now people are pushing you, right? There's limits. They're raising the bar, right? And you don't want to disappoint, because we don't want to go back to what we came from, right? So I don't want my kids to do what I went through.
That's right.
Right?
So that also drives you, that part.
That is huge.
Responsibility as a father.
Responsibility as a father, and leave a legacy and leave something behind where they're like, hey, your father changed my life. And I was able to touch a lot of people.
Wow.
That's pretty much my my drive.
So that's what I love about our show, is even after our days here on earth, this show will be continued on the internet. So lives will be touched even after we're no longer here. Of course, our children first, and that's our legacy, but the legacy that we leave, the footprint that we leave here on earth, right? That people can go to YouTube 20 years after our passing here and be able to hear this interview and still have their lives be changed and transformed if they allow it to be.
Right.
Yeah, Daniel hit something, it's vision. And you touched it earlier. It's the vision you had from the get-go.
That's right.
19 years. And if your vision's strong enough, the how is going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked about this channel, this was more of we already made it. It's already successful.
That's right.
Because worst case scenario, Easton and Daniel are going to be watching great people like yourself.
That's right.
Learning from, it's already a success. The rest, the followers, the likes, all that.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, that's important too.
Subscribe, like, right?
Well, we want some likes.
That's right.
But
We like
for me,
likes.
for us, it's not even about the likes.
Right.
Although that's what drives and gets this content out there. So my family in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta, they could see this content and
More
see
awareness.
and see Daniel. So when Daniel goes again to Puerto Vallarta this November,
That's right.
they're gonna know your story.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, and the people that are here at your office and in Miami, they're gonna know you on a personal basis. You know, they're gonna know the challenges you went through. That it wasn't an overnight success. 19 years in this industry, I would say is like 40 years in this industry.
Yeah, well, look at the gray hairs.
Yeah, no, you look great. You
Yeah.
look great. Yeah, you look great. And then you got those Luis Miguel blue eyes. Yeah.
So now, what's your plan? What are you working on currently? And then where do you see yourself the next few years? What's your goals?
I have 50 more LOs to be able to touch, to be able to bring in the industry.
15 more offices?
50 more
Agents.
loan officers.
Okay, you're personal loan officers.
Personal loan officers.
Yeah. That you're mentoring.
Yes, and help them grow a team and do the same. Maybe not 100, but if they touch on 10 people's life, that's great.
And that's powerful you're saying that because those 15, they're going to, kind of like how you have offices out there, even though you're not personally mentoring them, you are. The 100 peeps or 200 peeps that they have in the Pomona office, indirectly you're mentoring them
That's right.
because you're mentoring their leaders. So that's powerful. You're going to focus on 15 individuals that are going to go out there and mentor. One might open 100 offices, 100 agents. Another one might open, but your goal is to pretty much take 15 people on.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this
That's right.
and you want to be in this industry, I would literally go online, go to Encore Mortgage. Now I'm doing a commercial for you. I'm a promoter. That's how I started. I'm a promoter at heart, you know. Owning nightclubs, I had to constantly reinvent myself, and I think that's one of the greatness that I got from my father, always promoting. But if you're in the mortgage industry, are you taking any new people on? What do they got to do to meet you so that this way they could be mentored by you?
They have to be hungry and they have to want it, right? I cannot want it more than them.
And how do you know they want it? Like, what are the ways?
It's gonna be by them passing their exam, their NMLS
that's the first
test,
one.
which it wasn't an easy test for me.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging test that you pass. It takes about 30 days for you to pass it.
Yeah.
Once you pass it, then I'll pretty much give you the opportunity, 90 days tryout. I'll pretty much tell you what to do.
Okay.
And it's very easy, right? It's easy when it needs to be done, but people don't do it. Otherwise, everybody will be in this business and everybody will be making money.
So that's a good way to weed them out.
Yeah.
So are you doing on both the front and the back end as far as the sales and the mortgage, the real estate, or just the mortgage?
No, we only do the mortgage part.
But they still need to get their license.
The license is the NMLS because the real estate doesn't a different license
Correct.
type. So the NMLS is only for mortgage,
Okay.
right? So once they pass their test, then I'll pretty much. If I talk to you and I'll tell you this is what needs to be done, 30 days, 45 days, come back with your license, I know you're serious. People don't even come back.
And now you invest your time with them. You say, okay,
Right.
I'm going to invest a little bit.
Yeah.
They take one step towards me, I'll take 2 steps towards them.
Right.
Got that from the Bible,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because your time is valuable, right? And if you don't want to give your time to somebody that doesn't want it, and then not have the time to give it to somebody who's there, hungry for it.
Right. And the one that I connect a lot with immigrants, with people that come here with nothing just like I did. Why? Because they know how hard it is. Some people are born here, they have everything. It's like
Which we were talking about.
whether
that.
you have
Yeah.
the opportunity or not, it doesn't matter because you Not that I suffer, but I went through different years through my life, right? And people that gets that opportunity, they really appreciate it, and they don't want to almost let you down, and they do everything it takes
That's right.
to succeed.
They value that.
And to get someone's attention like yourself, they know it's not easy. You know, you're being pulled by different directions, different offices, different agents, family, kids. So the minute that they have your attention, they grab it by the horns. And that's very important for those out there in the audience listening, that when you grab onto a mentor, you're not entitled to a mentor. You got to earn the mentor. Unless you're paying thousands of dollars, then even then, sometimes they probably hold you to a higher standard, right?
Yep.
The people that are coaching you. So what advice would you give someone looking for a mentor?
Look for the right mentor.
Look for the right mentor?
If I want an advice as a marriage, I'm gonna look for someone that has a good marriage. But I'm not gonna ask the guy that has good marriage advice in health, right? Or business that it's not very successful in business. So you have to ask the right person. It doesn't have to really be a mentor, but someone that you admire and look up to. That like start with that. Right?
It's like going to the gym and you have two trainers there. One is absolutely fit and looks exactly how you want to look, and then the other person who is not fit, which one would you choose?
Right, the one where you want to be yourself. Right.
Okay.
So I think that's very important.
So what's your mindset like on a regular basis? What are your activities? What do you do? Because you're very successful in business, your marriage, as a father, right? As a holistic person. What does your day-to-day look like?
And not just that. I follow the guy on Instagram. He's well balanced. He's at his kids' swimming class, yet he's here, yet he's at traveling God knows where, right? He's going to be going to the World Cup Qatar.
Very nice.
So that's even, you even have the secret sauce there. I want to know about that, like, and add to what Daniel was asking you.
One of a friend I met a long time ago, he's like, I'll give you what I do, because he travels a lot. And he says, you have to cover the earth before the earth covers you. You know, and a lot of times you have to get recharged, right? Because you get exhausted maybe a month, a quarter, a year. And traveling, that for me and my wife, it feels 100%. We come back and we're like, let's hammer up and let's go again, right? And we travel alone, we travel with the kids, but getting to know other countries, that's pretty much our passion, and that's we do that. You talked about connecting with your kids on certain days. We pretty much go on a day night on a Thursday. The following Thursday is with the kids, but we break that routine, right? Because this country is very, it gets boring, or it's always the same routine every single day, and you have to break that, right? And it doesn't have to be just go to the park, just get away, change it up.
So you're very spontaneous.
Yeah, you have to.
And it's easy
intentional.
It's easy to get comfortable, which you were just, I would call this interview or this conversation, get comfortable until you get uncomfortable. Right?
Yeah, be comfortable with uncomfortability.
Because that's pretty much what I keep hearing come from what you're saying, is just be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For growth.
Yeah.
Because doing the same routine over and over is being comfortable.
Right.
You already know it's predictable.
Yeah.
You're saying
Change it up.
change it up.
So if your boxers are on one side and your socks are on the other, switch it up.
Yeah.
Right?
So now Daniel, no more Tuesdays and Sundays, is going to be Mondays and Saturdays for a few days, and then he's going to change it up.
And then also, even maybe the days could be the same, but the activities are different.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So maybe Tuesday is dinner at home and maybe a family movie in the living room. And then the following Tuesday could be dinner out at a restaurant, and then maybe a movie theater, or maybe go to a park or the fair or something, but you're constantly changing it up, but being consistently changing.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to. You have to, because not it's, and I mean, to apply to the marriage, right? I mean, that's kind of like where it doesn't get boring, right? It's always, you always have to something.
We do that.
We're going to have to get you and your wife on our next segment. In fact, it might even good to bring my wife, your wife, and then we have another conversation. Best version of
BVOM, best version of marriage?
Best version of marriage. See, All right, trademark that. All right.
Best version of marriage.
BVOM.
BVOM.
Hashtag BVOM.
Bring your own marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that you want our audience to know about you that maybe they don't know?
A lot of people give something in return, right? You cannot always chase the return. Give something without expecting nothing back, right? And if I give my time, if I give my knowledge, if you apply it and you're good, perfect. But if not, hey, no regrets. It's your fault, not like it's
on you.
It's on you,
right?
Yeah, I think Anthony Hopkins once says, which goes based on what you're saying, accept everything, expect nothing.
Lastly, people are watching, they're inspired, right? They want to maybe pursue the career, the choices that you did. What do you tell those people? What is their first steps? What would you encourage them to do next?
The day you stop working is when you start doing what you love to do, right? A lot of times people just do things because they have to, but they don't really, that's not their passion, right? My passion is to be able to see someone else's growing their career in this career,
That's
right?
right.
And that doesn't mean work for me. I can be working 8, 10, 12 hours a day and it doesn't feel like it's work.
Yeah.
Because
Time
I
will go
really
by
enjoy
like
it.
this. Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. They just do it because they have to, or they haven't found.
They're working to live rather
right.
than living to work.
Right. So that's the first step, right? Finding really if they really love what they're doing.
Their passion.
Right? Their
Now,
passion.
what if people out there know what their passion is? Yeah, they're working in a career that they're not passionate about. What advice would you give them?
Leave.
Leave.
Change the career.
Take a leap of faith and then change the career.
Yeah, because what happened is that you
Well,
have
that's
people
bold.
you have people that really stay there because you need it, you need the income, right? But it's like it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 5 years, and concentrate on something that you really like, and you're gonna perform at a higher level with what you're doing on what you're loving to do, right? And that's something that it's not easy, right? But it's harder to be able to do something that you don't really enjoy, and that's the reason a lot of people don't grow, because they don't have a drive.
Even in our church, we have different ministries: greeters, the parking, the ushers, the children's, right? Different spots. And sometimes we have somebody volunteer, let's say maybe in the children's ministry, that's not their passion spot. Frustrated, maybe they come late, whatever the case may be, but then you put them out in the front and they're excited, they're happy, they're welcoming people, and it's like, I found my passion. They're always early to the meetings, they stay late. That's just because that's who they are, or vice versa. So having that passion, what's a second thing that person would do?
It would be, you have to be very consistent. You have to be willing to work hard, because nothing comes easy. If you're looking for a shortcut, maybe you'll find it, but it will not last. It's not sustainable, right? If you really want something that is gonna last for years, decades, you have to pretty much work hard and put your hours. And I can guarantee you that no matter what you do, whether you choose mortgage or anything else, and you work super hard, that's the beauty about this country, that the sky is the limit.
Yeah,
and that's what I found out the first year I got here, and it's like, there is no limit, really.
So consistency.
Passion and consistency.
Consistency. Consistency will get you there.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning from you is commitment kept you there.
Right.
19 years. You were consistent, but most importantly, you were committed.
Right.
Because a lot of people were consistent to get in the industry, but they weren't committed.
Right.
2009 came, and we're about to, actually, I think we are living in a recession right now.
Yeah.
So for those homeowners right now, what advice would you give them right now? Because right now interest rates are changing. I know I play the stock market, and every time good old Powell opens his mouth, the market does this. Which you're doing one of my loans right now, and I'm so impressed on the way you guys worked. Like, got approved pretty much signing loan docs already, like in a week.
Yeah.
We're normally, to me, even that is a battle. It's like, oh man, I gotta go through the whole process again. No, you guys have been very detailed on the way you guys reach out to me and all that, and I know that started from the top.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not dealing directly with you, I'm dealing with some of your, I know that started from the top, which is you. But of course you have good people in place, but they say an apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Something that we created is we want to make sure that the client has a great client experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you ask 10 people that bought properties and they're like, I went through hell. 6 of them are going to tell you that.
Yeah, I was just
60%.
sharing that right now.
Right? And I asked him, how come you didn't go to your other guy that closed your deal 4 years ago or 2 years ago? Well, because I didn't have a good experience. You know, and unfortunately our business is, it's not easy and people don't really treat it as a profession. You know, ask me if in high school they said, become a realtor, professional realtor or a mortgage banker. That doesn't exist. A lot of people fall to this industry by mistake, right? And a lot of people make good money easy, and that's why they're not very professional, right? And that's why there's a lot of people that are very average out there. Mortgage
heavy.
and real estate.
That's heavy.
Right? So what I did, commitment, I'm like, I'm only gonna stick to this, and I'm gonna become professional and do the best, and I'm always gonna be adjusting so I can have a great client experience. By doing that, it has changed our business, you know, and that's something that you have to love what you do, always change things around to make it better, always grow.
Well, Daniel, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to be able to sit down with Edgar and myself and have this conversation. I know that a lot of our audience and our viewers are inspired, right? They're excited, they're motivated, they're ready to rock and roll. So am I. I'm sure, Edgar, I can see the glare. Our whole continent has just completely changed.
I gotta let you know to let your mentor know.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to send
him the bill.
And to send you the bill. Right? Because I have the privilege here to just be with you, and he's actually making a contribution in my life.
Yeah, he's here with
Through
me
you,
being here.
Your mentor.
Absolutely.
And our audience is getting trained by you, just by what you're sharing. So I see this white bottle, and it looks like water. So there's a story about this. As we were walking in, I saw that he had this bottle. We were in Puerto Vallarta, and we had like this exquisite dinner at one of the best restaurants there, where, let me tell you, this restaurant makes the Las Vegas restaurants look like a 3-star restaurants with the service, the food, the ambience. We had 10 servers constantly at our beck and call, and then here comes this bottle that Mr. Daniel Carrillo orders, and I'm like, what is this, water? Oh yeah, let me have some of that. So, so when I see this bottle now, I always think about you, and I said, hey, get that bottle if you have it there. So here we are.
So let's do a cheers to the best version of me.
Cheers.
Cheers.